Welcome back to another episode of Lil Pop Stars Podcast. On this episode, we're talking to Brett Altman about his new album, This Is Me.
I guess we're back with another episode. Tara, Sydney, welcome to our show.
It's nice to meet you. I feel like you've interviewed some of my friends, so we
Yeah,
run circles,
anyone
which is good.
in particular?
I saw you interviewed. Her name is Lexi, but goes by Reese.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's really cool.
yeah, she's awesome. And you're based here in New York, right?
No, actually, I'm in Florida.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know. And you interviewed Tammy Siteman too, who I know Forbes works with. So I was like, you're either New York or LA.
Yeah, yeah, I know a couple that Forbes works with, and then we've gotten a few like in the sort of New York area recently.
And you
Uh,
and your sister do the podcast together.
yes, we do.
That's awesome. My sister and I are very close, and she's like taking album photos, single artwork, like she does, and she's like an accountant and data analytics by like trade, in college.
Yeah,
But she does a bunch. We do so many creative things together, so I always
nice.
appreciate seeing that. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for talking. I'm excited to hear more about what went into this album. How are you
Yeah.
feeling about it?
Uh, I'm in like the marketing, the last phase of, oh, actually, it never ends, the marketing phase, but like the
Hmm.
pre-rollout of like what visuals do I want to film to create the story. I feel like the music comes more easily to me, and then it's like the actual like the colors and the fonts and all that stuff. I'm
Hmm.
like always, and I'm trying to learn, and I've gotten more interested in that. But it's like Olivia Rodrigo just drops a new like her album artwork, and it's like her upside down on a swing, and I'm like, what do you think of that? That it's simple, but it's cool, and so. I
Right.
just finalized. It's funny. The album's been coming out May 15th for a while, but I just submitted it yesterday for like distribution because we just
Uh-huh.
finalized the cover, me and my friend who's the photographer that I've been working with. So I feel really excited because I know this is the best music I've ever made and the most true to me. So it's just, yeah, now it's a matter of like how do I get the right fans to interact with it and hear it?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw on the album you sent, the photo just changed, I think yesterday.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that was the one I've been using. It's funny, and I feel like you'd appreciate it given all the artists you talk to and you're in like the creative world. It's the throwaway photos, ironically, that have ended up being the best. Where like
Right.
the one I used for my last single, we did a whole photo shoot in front of this red backdrop. And then at the end, Brianna, Sista, who's the photographer, she was like, "Let's go by the window and take like 5 pictures." We took 500 in front of the red, and like one of those five in front of the window was amazing. And then for the album cover, I had this vision of me walking down like Wall Street, given like my
Hmm.
finance background and how I got out of that. Like I thought it was just poetic to tie that
Yeah.
to the visuals. And we tried all these photos of me being like walking through a crowd of people and everyone's blurred around me, but I'm kind of still. And I just looked awkward in all of the pictures. Like I just forgot how to walk. Like I was so focused on the camera. And so the one that it changed to this morning that you saw,
Hmm.
that was just like we took a couple just in front of some buildings at the last second. And like
Yeah.
that one just I looked the most natural and it just
Right.
fits the whole message. So I know that's the funny part about photography.
Yeah.
I'm very critical, and I'm sure you can be. We all are.
This is me at 33. And I own it at 23. Society was feeding me to the beast till I fought it. My salary was supposed to keep me at peace. Couldn't be who I wanted.
My whole life, I grew up with music in my house, like American Idol, like from season one, like from Kelly Clarkson.
Hmm.
And my dad was always a great singer as a hobbyist. Like he sung at my bar mitzvah, he sung at my parents' wedding, all these things. He's always singing. And so it was always around me. and I felt like I was secretly singing for a very long time, more of like a crooner. Like I grew up on like Michael Bublé and like Frank Sinatra, Harry Connick Jr., and so I kind of
Mm-hmm.
mirrored a lot of that growing up. A lot of like show tune, like Broadway. I love Broadway, so that's where I started as just for fun. And then when I went to college, a friend of mine, my roommate who played piano, he was like, well, I had many roommates that helped me. My first set of roommates were like, you need to try out for Penn State Idol. And I ended up trying out for that and I performed in front of like 17,000 people and I won this
Wow.
competition that I like had never even thought was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year, my new roommate was like, I play piano. Let's start a band or like let's play some shows. And you should learn guitar, Brett, because I'm not always going to be around to perform with you. And so I feel like in college was when, like right at the end of college was really when I started thinking about could I be a musician and like could this be something in my life? And so and then though I graduate and I go into like the banking world where I'm commuting 3 hours a day and I'm in a long
Mm-hmm.
distance relationship and like music was pretty much non-existent. And I would say when I live in Hoboken, New Jersey now. When I moved here 3 or 4 years post college, there was this open mic scene that I would go to. And like I'd never been to an open mic before. I didn't know what to expect, but it was different than Brett and Tanner play their songs by themselves. This was a scene where
Mm-hmm.
like people would join you on stage randomly. Like
Oh.
there was like bass, there was a bass, there was drums. So like all of a sudden I'm like playing a couple songs that I wrote in my room and like random strangers who became friends are just jamming in this like six-piece band that I had never like me and my friend
Whoa.
in college, we were an acoustic duo. We weren't truly a band.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it was like, holy shit, there's something more here that I want to channel. And I think to fast forward us to now, it was 7, 8, 9 years of like having a day job and doing music on the side, but it was my number one calling and passion and all I cared about and all I talked about. And I think in the last couple of years, and I'm in my mid 30s now, I was like, okay, I know this is what I want to do with my life, and I'm afraid of other people's judgment if I were to change and make a drastic pivot and be like, I'm a full-time musician. Everyone knows me as this nice and steady guy who's been at like a
Mm-hmm.
bank in sales. But I was just like, life's too short. Like I gotta take a chance. And I think in the last couple of years, I started playing a lot more shows again. Obviously, COVID, I couldn't do that. But I started playing these residencies where like I would take 3 month blocks of time in the fall, in the spring, in the fall, and I would play them in New York, and the crowds started getting bigger, and it inspired me to write different types of music. And I feel like I've leaned heavily into pop. Like before, I was a little bit more of like a folk singer-songwriter artist and now I'm just like I want to move, like I want to run around on
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
stage, and so overall, like yeah, the background was like I didn't think any of this was possible, and now I'm at a point where like I quit my job a year ago, actually, like almost to the day to do music full time, and we got this album coming out that really covers a lot of my journey before quitting, right? Like it was all the thoughts of like I'm too afraid to do it, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and it was all about like self-acceptance. I think the last thing I'd say on it, just in general, is like for years I had trouble acknowledging who I really was because I was living these
Mm-hmm.
two lives in like corporate America and then in music. And I was so busy trying to navigate two worlds that I couldn't actually figure out like who am I really? What do I want? And like how do you block out the noise? And so those are big messages in my life now.
Yeah.
It's like block the fucking noise out, as much
Yeah.
as you can. It's hard, but yeah.
Right. And you talked about like wanting to run around on stage, and a lot of your songs do have like pretty high energy. Do you find it natural to like have a confidence on stage?
Not at all. Not natural, but I feel like I've practiced that a
Mm-hmm.
lot now. Like, um, I just posted something for the first time ever about I've been going to this hip hop dance class in the city at Alvin Ailey, for the last 2 years, let's call it on and off. Like sometimes there's
Mm-hmm.
a 5 month gap, but it's basically been 2 years.
Yeah.
And I've never posted any dance content from there. And then my friend was like, I took a picture in the studio and she's like, why are you not sharing with us what you're doing in there? And so I posted something yesterday and it's like, it's getting so much love. And
Mm-hmm.
I think for years and years and years, I was like, I'm only going to play guitar on stage. I'm going to hide behind the guitar because it's easy to do it and it's great. And then I would say a couple years ago when I started these residencies that I was mentioning, um, my bassist and friend Jared was like, dude, you should take some beginner hip hop classes. Like the music you're making warrants that.
Right.
And I would say like that, thank God he said that because like that was the spark that lit this whole new fire in me to be like, I feel like now I go to concerts and I'm like, when someone only stands there they really better be saying something goddamn incredible because it's like
Right.
we want to engage. I now like jump into the crowd now at some of my
Yeah.
shows, and it's like so fun. And I'm not naturally like that. I'm naturally outgoing, but I'm not naturally like dancing on stage. I'm still very much in my head, but
Yeah.
the dance classes have helped a lot.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have this little segment that is called Lil Pop Quiz. That's just some random little questions to get to know you a bit. And then after that, we'll really get into the album. So, what is your favorite candy?
That was a good question that you asked me. I felt
Yes.
like I'm gonna have a random answer. Like I had really bad acne in high school, and so I like stopped eating candy, and
Okay.
it like never came back. And I'm like, was puberty over or was it the candy? One of them. But what I eat now as a snack, which is just random, there's this thing called Sans bars that my
Mm-hmm.
roommate and I are obsessed with. It's not candy, but it's got dates in it, so it's very sweet. So
Okay.
someday I'll have to next if we meet in person one of these days, or I got to send you a care package of Sam's bars. But they're like a snack that me and my roommate are obsessed with. They're like, as my dad would call it, he would say it's nature's candy. That's how he used to try to get me to eat fruit as a kid. He'd be like, nature's
Nice.
candy. Yeah. Anyway, what's yours? Yeah,
I mean, I just kind of love anything with chocolate in it.
I'm allergic to dairy. It's a
Oh,
sin.
that's sad.
But yes, chocolate is great. I've had it. And then I get like sinus things and I can't sing, so I had to stop eating.
Oh,
Yeah. Hope whatever you ask next, I'll have hopefully a more up answer.
yes. What is an album wish you could listen to for the first time again?
Wow, that's a great question. Um, I feel like Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, that one is my like plane ride. Like anytime I'm on a plane, I don't know, I just feel comfort in that one.
It is. She does have a very calming voice.
I'm
Have
pumped
you
for her
heard
next.
her new song?
Yeah, oh my God, it's so
It's so
good.
fun.
It's so fun. Yeah, that I feel like her and Sabrina Carpenter are some of the best at like the tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do that without it being corny. And
Right.
yeah, yeah. Are you a Casey fan as well? I take it.
I can't say I'm a huge fan, but I have like recently started getting into her stuff a little more.
Yeah, her Same Trailer, Different Park album, which is like maybe her first album, I think. There's a song called Pageant Material. It's really, really good.
Oh, okay. I
One
don't
of my
think I've
sisters.
heard that album.
Yeah, she's just great. She's just so real. That's kind of my whole mantra is like
Yeah.
who is being real and who is just hot and they sing. And there's a big difference.
Yeah. Right. Where is your favorite place to perform?
I think I guess it's without question at this point in my life, Arlene's Grocery, which is where I did I'm gonna do the album release show there. I've done like three birthday shows there. And I guess an interesting side note, but about them is they really don't do residencies for artists. They tend not to do that. I think there's just a lot of demand and also, financially, right? It's risky to be like, we're going to give an artist three shows in 3 months when
Yeah.
most artists play one show in 3 months in New York. That's kind of the culture.
Right.
because you got to sell tickets. So the first two residencies, I pitched Arlene's on both of my first two residencies. They were like, no, 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 no. And then the most recent one I did, they were like, all right, you clearly are doing it well. Like we're down. And so I feel like that was a really proud moment, to be like
Nice.
after a year and a half of like proving this concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think for emerging artists in New York, there's like Arlene's and then there's Mercury Lounge. But Mercury Lounge is just a little bit bigger. And I know maybe you're
Okay.
not familiar with these places, so but hopefully someday. Yeah.
Yes.
Mercury Lounge is a really cool spot, as is Arlene's.
Nice. Yeah, now that I know several artists kind of in that area, I need to go when just everyone's playing.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, Reese and I have played together. I know. I feel like a
Nice.
lot we tend to do these four friends on a bill.
Yeah.
Um, and I think my favorite time of year is the fall in New York. It's like you're
Okay.
not, although Florida in the summer and New York in the summer, it's like they're both tough. They're
Yeah.
beautiful, but it's hot. Yeah.
Who is a dream artist to collaborate with?
Yeah, there's three names that come to mind, but I think it's really either John Bellion or John Mayer. And I think I would go with John Mayer because he's the person that like got me into being a performer and an artist. Yeah.
Nice.
And John Bellion, like currently, I'd say maybe, like, I guess to expand on it a little, I feel like John Bellion's musical production style would be a dream collaboration for me now. But John Mayer's like wisdom and like just overall musical sensibilities and like the teenager in me that's like this guy wrote Continuum, which is like my favorite album ever.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'd say John Mayer though.
Nice. And what is a song you think everyone should know?
Damn, wow, that's a question. Um, I feel like I'm gonna keep. Have you heard Continuum like much in your listening of music?
I I can't say I have at least to my
That's
knowledge.
fair. That's okay. I'm 35, so it's like that song came out like the Continuum album when I was like in my like when I was 18 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those are some formative years of
Right.
dating and of learning about love. So, but there's a song Dreaming with a Broken Heart uh that is like just amazing. I mean, how I still, yeah, I still, whenever I experience that feeling when you kind of wake up like a little sad about someone that you've
Mm-hmm.
almost or that isn't going to happen, like I just always think of that song. I think it's so relatable. So yeah, I think that's a good one. That
You
one's worth
say
diving into. But all of Continuum, anytime you
okay.
have your next relationship, situationship, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of like wisdom in that album.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll
I
be
hope you
having
don't.
that ready.
Yeah, I hope you're not dreaming with a broken heart anytime soon. To actually have to listen to that, but yeah, it's
I'm
good.
sure I will.
I know it's fucking life. That's how it goes.
So now we're gonna kind of talk about your album, and the first song on it is the title track. How did you pick that song, like, to be the title of the album, and what what does how does this song kind of set up the album?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like when you asked me about myself, I really fast forwarded through the like last year because I realized I went so far back. They were like, who are you? And I'm like, let me tell you about when I'm 8 years old. So I kind of rushed through my 30s, but um, I would say, yeah, like just to give a little bit more context, my last album called My Way Out, is my second album out. That one was really an accident. Like I went through a breakup. I thought I might not continue being an artist. Like I was that sad about it. And that was why
Hmm.
we broke up. It was like the contention over pursuing this dream. Um, I ended up in the studio with my friend Colin Rowe, and he's my producer. He's produced My Way Out, and he's produced now This Is Me, the new album. So clearly we
Nice.
love each other and we work well together. But a couple years ago, when I went in to just tell him about my breakup, we ended up writing. this song My Way Out, which was the title track of the last album, and then we wrote 7 songs about a breakup in like a couple of months. Like was we I think we had I think a total of like 11 days together and we finished an album really like we wrote it all in 11 days and then but with this album I had never sat down with the intention in my life to write an album. My first
Mm-hmm.
album was a collection of like 5 years worth of songs. The second album was an accident that happened so fast. So this was like, all right, what do I want to write about? And I feel like my Way Out, there's a song on it called Abundance that got a lot of attention and like a lot of brought in a lot of new fans. And that was like
Mm-hmm.
a first for me of like people are not supporting me because I'm their friend. They're supporting me because of the music. And I mean, you talk to a
Right.
lot of artists, that's a big change. So the confidence in myself was really growing. And I'm like, I think it's time to quit my job for real. I've been saying it for 10 years, but it's for real, it's going to happen. I want to document like how I'm feeling before I quit. And it's just funny because when we wrote My Way Out, the first session for that album, we wrote My Way Out and that inspired the whole album. And that's exactly what happened with This Is Me. I go to Colin's apartment. It's September of 2025. So 6, 7 months ago at this point. No, yeah. No, it must have been September. God, this is scary. It was September of 2020. I'm losing track of years. I'm gonna have to do the math there separately. But yeah, no, it was September of 2024. Damn, that's scary.
Oh wow.
That's scary. Because I quit my job in April of 2025. Holy shit. Okay. Let me get locked in. This Is Me as the title track was literally about like I'm going to accept myself for who I am and like I'm going to say things that I've been afraid to say. Like I never wanted to say my age on a song. I'm like, I don't want people to know I'm in my 30s. Everyone cares about 21-year-old musicians. I was like, fuck that. I was like, I'm Jewish. Like I put NJ, I'm an NJB. That's one of the lyrics in the song. It's like I thought that was silly and fun to put in there. Like I just want to put things I don't talk about. And that I think was liberating because then it opened up the whole rest of the album. The interesting anecdote is the start of This Is Me. You hear someone say like, "I heard you're quitting the bank to join a rock and roll band."
I was very surprised to hear that you were quitting the bank to join a rock and roll band.
That's the start of the album. That was a client of mine at my day job
Oh.
who left me that voicemail the day before I she heard I quit. She heard I quit and she left me that voicemail and I called her and I'm like, "Can I use this like 7 second sample like on my album to start my album because damn, that sums it all up. Like that
Yeah.
sums up where this album comes from." Um and so anyway, yes, just felt very natural to be like, this is the start of the album. This is who I am.
I did wonder where that little voice came from in the beginning. That's
And
cool.
not AI. That's fucking real.
Nice. In the second song, and I mean many songs on this album kind of have like I feel like an early sort of 2000s pop sound, but then you do kind of mix a lot with some more like present day pop sounding artists. How
Yeah.
did like who are some inspirations with your
Yeah.
music?
And I feel like I've recently been realizing like I don't even know sometimes like
Mm,
I'm like why do I like this sound? I don't even know. You know, like it's funny when we released Pretty Long Island Girls, everyone was like, "Man, that's so in sync of you." You know, and I think Justin Timberlake is definitely an influence.
yeah.
I would say like Justified, that album in particular, really
Okay.
influenced like Free Your Mind. Like that song feels like a Justified kind of
Yeah.
vibe. And obviously like in the early 2000s I was like 10 years old, 10 to 15, those were the year like those are obviously like the probably the first years I ever listened to music that I like could remember, that wasn't like Barney and all that shit when you're like 5, 6, 7, and then it's like when you're kind of in middle school, you start to hear some stuff on the radio and you're like, I actually like this.
Hmm.
And so I feel like a lot of John Bellion like production inspired in certain aspects of the album, a lot of Ed Sheeran stuff. I'm forgetting the name of his green colored album. It might be X. Um,
Some symbol, yeah.
yeah, yeah, one of the math symbols. But yeah, I feel like there's like I say John Mayer is my dream collaborator, but he really doesn't influence my album, my music anymore, other than like his wisdom, because I feel like he's just
Mm,
got so many good things to say. But I feel like we kind of went with like there's a Justin Timberlake, Ed Sheeran, John Bellion kind of mixture overall.
nice. Yeah, I love the kind of combination of feeling it still feels very new, but also like you get it feels a little nostalgic as well.
Thank you. That's really big compliment. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Pretty Long Island Girls, was that the first single from this album?
Yeah, yeah, we were like, we were gonna do This Is Me originally, but then my friend who shot my music video for Pretty Long Island Girls was like, "This is a summer song, man. This feels like the first one," and I think he was so right about that.
Did you have like a plan for what songs to roll out as singles?
It's funny, I feel like yeah, with today's with the TikTok culture, it definitely
Yeah,
throws wrenches. Like
right.
I always thought This Is Me was going to be first, and Pretty Long Island Girls would be one of the first, but I didn't totally know. I would say that maybe the two interesting things worth talking about. Yeah, the Pretty Long Island Girls one was basically like we had a huddle up and we were like, it's the summer. Let's put that out first and let's not
Yeah,
worry about even announcing an album. Like, let's just have that out. Especially because it takes so long to build a song, right? To get fans. So we
right.
made a joke like we're gonna release Pretty Long Island Girls in the summer of 2025, but really it's really for this it's gonna hit in 26. Like
Yeah.
and so because I feel like we basically built all these fans last summer, but then it kind of has gone quiet that song. Um, so I'm hoping this summer we're gonna breathe some new life into it. But I'd say the only other thing was like the song Bike that I released as the third single. um, I didn't expect to release that as the third single. Like I always knew we really like me and Colin as the producer and Tyler Bank who wrote it. We all love that song. We're like, man, this is a special one, and it felt so like relevant to me. Like I'm single and I'm looking to find that person. And man, at 35, you would think I would have thought I would have it all. Like I'd be done. Like I'd be cooked. Like I'd have a family and stuff. And so but I ended up randomly posting that on TikTok, just like the I'm on my way, got no car, like the beginning couple of
Uh-huh.
lines. And it got some comments. And then I was like,
Right.
and then it started snowing and the Christmas lights were happening in New York. And I like suddenly was like, this feels like the song. Like it feels very intertwined with that visual. So I posted it like 200 times before it even came out. And I ended up getting so much love on that song on TikTok that I was like, this has to come out.
Yeah.
And so that I'd say those are the two things. Like originally Pretty Long Island Girls wasn't going to be the first single, and Bike might have not been the third. And I think one other caveat or just note is that I haven't really, like, I didn't even formally announce the album. Like, when I started releasing Pretty Long Island Girls and all these songs, I kind of was like, I don't have the album cover done, and I don't have the visual
Mm-hmm.
identity done, but I don't want to wait, like, to release this stuff. So
Yeah.
I kind of was just like announcing them as singles with the intent. I mean, everyone does it with the
Yeah.
intention of like that it's going to be the album, but it's crazy that it was September of 2024 that I'm just connecting that now when we started this
Wow.
process. That's a long time ago.
That is a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a beard back then. I couldn't grow one.
And you have a song called Free Your Mind, which is one of the singles. I was wondering if you have any ways that you free your mind.
That's a good question. Wow. Um, I feel like two things. Well, one, I've been meditating a lot more. I've been able to do it more. Like when I had the day job and I was doing music, it felt like it was chaos all the time. Like
Hmm.
I never carved out 10 minutes in the morning to meditate. But I think by meditating, I'm able to be more present and I'm able to kind of block out the other things.
Yeah.
Um, and that then applies to I go to the sauna a lot, especially in the
Okay.
winter. And I feel like not having my phone for like it's like you go to the sauna and there's like a cold plunge and it's 190 degrees in these saunas and there's steam. You just like you are removed from your phone, and by default you have to like you free your mind in that
Yeah.
environment. And I think maybe one more thing to add on that. That song was difficult to write a chorus for because we really started writing it about all the things I don't have. I'm like, man, I don't have a family. Like, what the fuck, you know? And like, I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
job now. I've quit my job to now pursue music, which is my job. And at
Yeah.
the time, I was struggling to even reconcile that in my brain. But I'd say, oh, you know, and so when we finally came to the chorus of like, I'm not going to be ashamed of the things I can't change, I was like, that's fucking powerful. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not going to be afraid when I'm feeling out of place. It's like I still feel out of place all the time. Like I would say that song to me, I know bike is something I'm going through actively with like looking for someone, like looking for my
Right.
future partner, but I'm
Right.
not always looking for my future partner. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
relaxed about it. I think I have a lot more wisdom with age that I'm like just chill on it and it'll come. But with Free Your Mind, it's like I'm regularly dealing with okay, I'm uncomfortable in this room. Maybe it's like I'm older than everybody and I feel weird about that. Or like there's a bunch of rich kids near me and or there's a cute girl, like all those things I'm dealing with every day. And I think coming back to like the meditation and like just get present again has
Mm-hmm.
helped me. So that's the way I try to do it. But not I don't have it all figured out. I'm not perfect with it yet.
That's all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I want to. I really
Yeah.
I'm mean to myself sometimes, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
just get there, dude, you know, but it's like maybe when I'm 80 I'll get there. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. You mentioned one way being like when you kind of just like are away from your phone. And I feel like that kind of connects to the next song online a bit, where there's, and which I think is a very relatable song, where it can be very challenging to have meaningful relationships that are like often started online. Do you sometimes just wish the internet didn't exist?
That may be that's the best question of the day right now. Wow, that's a huge one. So I wish the internet didn't exist. It's tough because I don't know how you and I would I mean like
Right.
so it's such a double-edged sword. It's like I'll give you an example of where the internet can be great.
Mm-hmm.
I I posted something about a friend of mine and it was a friend giving me some feedback about me, and it kind of came off as an insult. And so I went online and I talked about my friend said that I was desperate for attention, and here's why I actually yes, I am desperate for attention. He meant it in a negative way, but it's actually a positive. And my friend saw the video and he basically was like, "We're no longer friends. Like I'm just I disassociate that like we're done." And we had a toxic dynamic to begin with, so like it was
Mm-hmm.
for the best. But the irony was like that video that ended the friendship that should have ended anyway,
Yeah.
a role model in music who is like he's a big time guy who like I look up to for his content, his music. He saw the video, he followed me, and we've been DMing. And I'm like, what? How crazy is the internet that like it could
Yeah.
ruin, it could end a friendship that was already ruined. I'm not, it didn't
Right,
ruin the
right.
friendship. The friendship was dead. But then it's like, but then this good thing happens. So I know. I think if we can get off the internet more, it's for the
Mm-hmm.
best. Like, but the internet is just crazy and the access that it gives us, and like even with the injustice that fucking goes on in the world, right? It's like we actually are seeing it now, like
Right.
more clearly than ever. So, but then there's the divide that's bigger than ever. So I don't think I would want to lose the internet, but I think maybe managing my own time on the internet, like just being on it a little less would be, and
Yeah.
that's what, and the sauna, it's so stupid that the sauna forces me to not use my phone. Like I could just put my phone down
Right.
anyway, but anyway, yes. How do you feel about the internet in general?
I mean, I think the same. I'm honestly, I feel like just generally better at like writing, how and better at communicating through writing. So I think that's where it's helps me a bit. But and then like you said, we would have never met. There's so many people I would have never gotten into contact with without it.
Yeah, and I think with online, just to circle back on that song, it also I'm talking yeah, I'm touching on like the dating culture now where it's like
Mm-hmm.
someone's gonna look at your stories. Like you meet someone cute at the bar and you DM each other a couple times and it dies. But then they'll look at your
Yeah.
stories for 4 years later. Like they'll still be looking at your stories 4 years later and you're like, we're never gonna reach out to each other again. But what are we doing here, you know? So I think there's just a lot of missed connections for people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about like how a lot of your songs have pretty high energy, and we talked about like performing, but I wondered how you work with your producers and writers to like create those songs initially with that high energy.
Yeah, I think the Good Love on the album is definitely one that like is the highest of energy, I think.
I want you, I need you so bad. I fear we're moving too fast. Got lessons I learned from my past. That a good love, it don't always last.
And
I
that one we
want you, I
wrote
need
like
you right
really, really
now.
fast.
I can't find a
Um,
way to
I
slow
feel
it
like
down.
with me and my music, I'm always trying to find like a deeper meaning to it, and I feel like
Right.
you get that. Like I'm talking to
Yeah.
you and I are friends like that. We
Yeah.
get that. Sometimes there's just music for entertainment. You know, sometimes there's
Mm-hmm.
just sounds that are good and it's fun, and you go to a club and whatever. But with Good Love, like Colin kind of jokingly challenged me. He was like, "Don't overthink it. Let's just write whatever comes." And
Yeah.
he kind of found like a sample of like that, like a drum beat that was going really intensely. And I I wasn't even like into anyone when I wrote Good Love, but obviously, you know, again, as human, we both know the feeling of like moving too quickly into something.
Right.
And I feel like for many years that was a version of me where I moved too quickly. I think the irony is like again, as I've like matured a little bit more and gotten to know myself, I might move a little slowly now, where I'm like, let me see your true colors a little bit first before I want to get involved. But as far as the high energy stuff, like just in general, I was very inspired too by Fred again over the last like 3, 4 years. I think he just makes like incredible electronic music, and so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I I started playing these shows and I started seeing like what was resonating with people, and it was like everyone, it's like you want to dance at a show. I do think there's definitely a time and a place for sadness and like expressing that emotion. I think I struggle with that a little bit. Like I tend to I'm actually working on new music where I'm like, I want to write some sad things because I
Mm-hmm.
feel those things, and
Right.
I think I've been like training my brain to like only write the upbeat, fun stuff that can be played live, and so
Yeah.
I'm kind of working on that. But yeah, I think the combination of like my hip hop classes teaching me to move more, and then some of my newer influences, like it's just I definitely just have more fun up there when I'm able to
Yeah.
like bounce around and the crowd's bouncing around with me. Like, yeah, I'm like trying to find the balance, I think, right now of like keep writing songs like that, but also maybe I'll just write some songs that are just sad, emotionally in-depth
Yeah.
things that I don't play live much. Like,
Right.
or maybe then people are like, we need to hear that live because
Yeah.
like, so that's where I'm like, I'm in like a learning process right now. Because
Mm-hmm.
I've been on this upbeat high for the last couple years. And I love it. Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, I love to hear a sad song live and just scream it out with everyone.
yeah, I've been big into Bon Iver like the last, I would say,
Okay.
4 or 5 months, and I never
Yeah.
really listened to him much, but like, man, he writes some really amazing things that aren't really like dance bangers, you know?
Right.
They're just like there's a song called, have you heard the song Creeks?
I
Uh,
don't know if I have.
I'm gonna send you this one. It's like him and a vocoder, and it's just
Okay.
like a minute and a half long. But man, it like gets you in your feels, and he performs it live, and I'm like, oh, I wish I was there.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I could probably talk about this for hours. I don't know why I resist the sad songs, but there's something in me I need to explore
Yeah.
further with that.
Is it like would you like I love a song that's sad and upbeat. Is that
Mm.
something that you are these songs that you're writing that are more sad, do you see them as just like also sounding sad or like
I
more
think
upbeat?
they're like mid-tempo what I've been creating
Mm,
recently. It's basically just been it's been me in my room by myself, and I would say for like 6 years I've said to myself I want to learn to produce. But again, like when you have the day job and you're doing music and you're having a social life, it's very hard to do that.
yeah,
But my first year post quitting corporate America, I was like, I'm gonna release a song every month. That didn't happen, but now the album's like about to come out, and so then
right.
I'm gonna market it, but there's gonna be a huge gap in I don't want there to be a huge gap in music. So 3 months ago, I finally like it was like January 1st, and I'm not really a New Year's resolutions person, but I was like, it's the winter and it sucks outside, so like let me like what else am I gonna do? Was literally the impetus, and I started
Yeah,
producing for, and it's been like 3 months of this journey, and I feel like in the last month, I'm like, holy shit, I'm making some like really interesting things that don't sound like anything I've made. And a lot of it's like this mid-tempo, there's like a sadness to it, and maybe it was the
yeah.
winter that inspired it. But when I get some stuff ready, you'll be the first person I send it to because I feel like
Nice.
you're now inspiring me to like keep going on this journey. Yeah, as we're like therapizing me right now, which is good.
I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah.
You saved a couple songs for the album that I feel like are really like I feel like some people, their singles are maybe the best ones, but I think there's quite a few that are still just as good as the
Thank you.
singles. And like Fantasies is a very fun, catchy
Thank
one.
you.
You know where this is going, everyone here can see. Baby, this train's in motion, traveling at full speed. Tell
And I
me
did
yeah,
wonder,
tell me
like,
yeah.
you use a few different, like, voice and different effects on that one and
Mm.
other songs. I wondered how you decide which songs and which places to use those effects.
Yeah, I feel like on Fantasies, that like chipmunk sound, we used Little Alter Boy, which is like a plugin that's very popular to just like shift my voice up. And I don't know, that one felt very hip hop inspired. Like I feel like there's so many hip hop songs that I love where like right before the rapper comes on, there's like some chipmunky sound. And
Mm-hmm.
also like I do a lot of impersonations. This is something I guess people probably don't really know. And so I do a lot of just different voices, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd say there's a world where I want to bring in more collaborators to do those voices, but like I'm at the beginning stages of my career. Like I don't have access to everyone and the budget's
Right.
small. So we
Yeah.
basically we leaned on Little Alter Boy to kind of help us get to certain places where it's like we really want like a deep, deep, deep voice here. I can get halfway there, but we need technology to help us get fully
Mm-hmm.
there. And it's also a page out of like John Bellion's production playbook. I feel like he plays a lot with like he has a single kid again off his new album where it's like he shifted his voice to almost sound like a kid, and it's cool. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really. AI is such a complicated topic, and we didn't do anything with AI here.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, when everyone's using these plugins to blend like human voices with robotic voices, and it's like it's interesting how it's cool. Like it's still that's cool. Like a vocoder,
Yeah.
we know that that's a human robot combination, but there's something amazing about it. Um,
Right.
so anyway, yeah, I don't. It wasn't like a totally conscious decision. It was kind of like in the moment. What do these songs call for? But fantasies in particular, yes, that one was like, let's do a chipmunk like rap hip hop kind of vibe on the beginning of the
Yeah.
song.
Yeah, I've like been noticing some songs that, some like even really great vocalists like Olivia Dean has one song that where she really heavily uses a like voice modifier, but it just sounds really cool and interesting.
You know the song name but off the top of your head? Because I
Yeah, it's
haven't
called
heard.
UFO.
Okay, I love her. I don't know her.
Yeah,
I only really know her new album, but my
right.
sister's like, you got to dive into the back catalog.
Yeah, that song is like it's like completely like some sort of voice effect is used and it kind of works being that it's called UFO.
Yeah, and when the emotion, like, yeah, when there's like the meaning is like hits,
Right.
it kind of I know it's the right time and the place. I feel like the stuff I've been experimenting with in my room, I've been putting a lot of auto tune on it. And the irony is like when you have you ever messed around with just having auto tune on your voice?
Not really, no.
It's a fun thing to try
Yeah.
because and as a singer, like when you have auto tune on your voice, you think you're God. You're like, I can sing any note. And
Yeah.
so I actually am like, the reason I think some of these songs I've been making in my room are different is because I've like cranked the auto tune so high that I'm like singing differently. And then you pull the auto tune off and you're like, oh, I could still hit that note, but I never would have thought of it without these like vocal enhancements. So
Hmm.
I think that the big thing for me is always like, you got to be able to deliver it live at the end of the day. Like, no vocal enhancement can replace a good live. Yeah, like American Idol, that's why it was so good. Everyone was real singers.
Right.
You know, you couldn't fake it. So,
And so after fantasies, you go to whatever it takes, which is quite different tonally.
Through all the rain and seasons of change, I'll do whatever it takes, my love. Whatever it
yeah.
takes.
And I wondered how you sort of balance the different tones in this album.
Yeah, I don't think there was an actual recipe necessarily for that. Like, I feel like we, we were our goal was like let's capture a time period and let's capture the emotion. And then yeah, some songs like Bike and Whatever It Takes are just like way different vibes.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still figuring out like, it's like what is my vibe? What is my sound? Like I'm always and it definitely it just I'm straddling this line of like the John Bellion production and the Ed Sheeran world. Like it's like it's and then it's in there. Then and I'm both of those things. And I don't have like a totally like clear answer on that. I think I'm still like I'm just like I like these songs and they tell the right emotion and they're from the time period. But it's always what I'm chasing is like how do I make
Yeah.
everything but then it's like it gets boring. I think to myself, how do I make everything sound cohesive, total like 100% cohesive? And then
Right.
that might be boring, you know? So I don't have an answer,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love that song too, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a nice balance of in your album where it does feel cohesive, but then there's a lot of different like sounds and vibes, so it doesn't get boring and it does feel cohesive. So I
That's
think you
good to hear. Thank you.
you succeeded.
Good. Yeah. And it's like yeah, that's the artist's journey of like how do you get everything to feel like in a world? And really it's I don't think I'll ever totally feel that. Like I'll never be
Hmm.
like we 100% everything's perfect. But
Right.
yeah, that's like Bike is like a love ballad, and then you got
Yeah.
Online, which is like a banger. It's like so different.
Yeah. And with the last couple songs on the album, because like I feel like Bike is very much like sort of these big ideas of what you're looking
Forever
towards in the
with you,
future.
although it might take just a little bit longer, it'll make the two of us stronger. So wait, I'll be meeting you soon. Won't stop till I do. I'll keep riding my
And
bike
then
to
with
you.
Shooting Star as well, how do those kind of wrap up this album?
Yeah. Um, I didn't necessarily know where Bike would like fall on the album track list order when I
Hmm.
made it. Um, it just felt natural to put it there. I don't know. Like it just didn't feel like it almost feels like the album's like two different it's like right that there's these two energies. It's like
Yeah.
there's this intensity that starts the album of like I need to get these things out and heard. And then I feel like it's like and then I calm down a little bit. And like I think I could talk more on Shooting Star because I think with Bike it's like I don't necessarily have a great answer as to like why it fell exactly there, but
Hmm.
Shooting Star originally, the production was very like putting Kanye's views aside, it was very inspired by his production from like the mid 2010s.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we ultimately scrapped that because as we were finishing the album, I'm like, the message of Shooting Star, it just feels like an album closer
Yeah.
And that led us to think, wow, we have all this like production on it. Let's just like strip it all back. Let's put a guitar there and let's see how that sounds. And like it's amazing how the feeling of it, man. Like I would say I feel like it's hard when you're like, this is my favorite song. This is my favorite song on an album. Like I love them all, of
Yeah.
course. But there's something about Shooting Star where I'm like, damn, whenever I've played that live, like that really leaves an impact, that one.
Mm.
And I think for years too, like I also really shied away from the acoustic guitar. Like my second album, like barely has any acoustic guitar on it. I was just like, I don't want to be, this was my own shit that I was like, I don't want to be a folk artist. Like I don't want to be,
Yeah.
for whatever reason. It just wasn't connecting with me. But then like I found the love of the acoustic guitar again, which is why I picked up music in the first place was the acoustic. And I feel like Shooting Star, when I like hear that song, I think about this guy who like went through like a 12-year journey in corporate America and like doubted himself, and there was fears and there was judgment and there was lack of self-acceptance. And then like he starts by being like, I accept myself to start this album, and like here's my journey of like understanding myself and as it relates to love and as it relates to how like hard I'm gonna try to do all these things in my life. And by the end, I just picture this guy who's like the suit's all ripped up, like I wore a nice polished suit to start when I walked down Wall Street, and then by the end, it's like the suit's ripped up and worn and weathered, and I am like in the mud, and I kind of made it through the other side, and this is me being like I made it through the other side, and no matter what, I'm not going to quit. Like I went through all
Yeah.
these trials and tribulations, but like I'm going to keep going because really what I feel like the message of that song is just like I'm very passionate about my friends continuing on their creative journeys. And I think in society, like we say we value art, but then we don't pay enough for it. And so it's
Right.
like so many of my friends have just quit. And also it's like being in your 30s, right? Like I've seen people fall off. And so like I'm just still here somehow, and I want to keep going and I want to inspire. And so I basically was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe there's a 1 in a million chance that I like make it to the levels of musical success that I want, but I actually believe that 1 in a million is possible.
Yeah.
And I want to leave the album and everyone listening kind of on a note of optimism that like I don't know what I got in store, but I'm feeling good. Whatever it is, it'll be good. It'll be okay.
Nice. Love that. Yeah, it does feel very like you were saying optimistic and looking towards the future.
Yeah. Yeah. As I say, I'm optimistic of the future. I just wrote 10 sad songs. That's what we're gonna get. No, I don't know. We'll see.
Um but yeah, before we finish up, is there anything else about the album that you wanted to share?
I would say the most interesting thing about music to me in general is like as I think it's maybe not only I'm thinking like, does this only apply to me as an artist and other artists? But it's like you write these songs 2 years ago, right? And then you're not the
Mm-hmm.
same person anymore.
Right.
And then you're like, time to promote. And so it's really been funny because like there was a point where like Pretty Long Island Girls, like it was all I was like, I'm so in love with Long Island Girls, like, and I meant it. And then there was a point where like after the song came out, I was like, I'm okay on Long Island Girls, like I'm not chasing them anymore. Like I'll go with whoever I want. And then it's been funny because like recently, my friend and I were joking. He's like, I feel like you're back on the Long Island Girls train again. I'm like, I think I am. And it's just silly that like with songs and music, it's like you just never know how you're going to reconnect. It's like I thought I was falling out of love with a certain thing, and then I'm back in it. And
Right.
with Bike, it's like I'm really not as much a hopeless romantic as I once was, but like there is still a part of me in there, and that's what music is. You're recording these moments, and you're seeing your growth. Um, and so anyway, I'm just laughing about it all where I'm like, this music's so fun. I'm so excited. Like this is going to be great, but I'm
Yeah.
so different now. And
Right.
and then how am I going to perform these songs? And I love that because you're going to just have different relationships. I think John Mayer like didn't perform Waiting on the World to Change for like 10 years because he was like, this song's kind of hokey, I think was probably what he was going through. And now he plays it all the time. And it's like, no, we fucking need that song. Like,
Yeah.
so anyway, I thank you for making time to talk about for me to do a lot of the talking and to listen about what I've been doing and then the music. But yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, of course. Are there any like smaller artists that you'd want to highlight?
Yeah, I mean, Maria Gesualdi, who's playing at the album show with me, and Ali Schwartz too, who's performing with me. Those are two great artists and singer-songwriters and everything. And Reese too. Like I'm a huge fan of
Yes.
hers. So when I saw she was on here, I was like, you're meeting with great humans and great talents. Um, and I'm just going to throw one plug in for my sister is not an artist, but she's 3 months into her piano journey. So
Okay.
maybe she will be a small artist at some point. Just
Okay.
started, but I'm very
We'll be
excited
on the
for her.
lookout for her.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you and your sister, me and mine, we'll have to follow
Yes.
up chat when she's an artist. It's in the family. It's like my dad's a singer. I'm an artist. I feel like she's got a lot of smart things in her brain. Maybe the piano will help her express that at some point.
Yeah, love that. Well, I'm excited for everyone else to hear the album. I'm glad I've had the chance to listen many times, but I'm excited for everyone else to hear it and um, to hear what else you're working on in the future.
One of my big things in life is like how do we all build our community? And I mean you're doing an amazing thing in this podcast to help grow the music community. And so the Lil Pop Stars, yeah, when we're all
Yes.
big we're going to be really appreciative of you giving us a chance in the early days, and you'll be on stage with us. Maybe yeah, maybe we'll do a show slash podcast someday at MSG. That would be a
Perfect.
nice
That
one.
sounds great.
That'll be how we get you to New York. Hey, you want to come do a
Nice.
podcast at MSG?
Wow, that would be something for
That
sure.
would be something. Let's manifest it.
Yes. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you go check out Brett Altman's new album, This Is Me, and we'll see you all on the next episode of Lil Pop Stars Podcast.
It could all go down in flames. It could all go down. It could all go down in flames. It could all go down. Go down. It could all go down in flames. It could all go down. But there's a shooting star up in the dark.